this was around the third, fourth, fifth month, clients would start to call in, email in, and be like, "What's going on? Like, how long is this going to take? When are we going to start to see results?" And I would remind them, "Hey, I told you, we're gonna do a lot of stuff, right? We're gonna build the website, we're gonna create content, we're gonna build citations, we're gonna help you drive reviews. We're gonna be doing a lot of work, and that takes time to generate results." But nonetheless, we'd be at like that 3 or 4 month period, and the clients would start to clamor. Some of them would just say cancel. And at that point, when they're canceling and they don't feel like they've gotten a lot of results, they'd also sometimes be like, "Hey, I should get some kind of refund, right? I should at least get my last month, if not this whole amount back." And we started to, not in every case, but we started to get that feedback from clients. And just give me one of the comments if you've ever experienced that, where you're at that 3, 4 month window and they're questioning you and they're like, what's going on here? Like, where's the results? Where's the bacon? Even though you made it clear that that was going to be the case. And so that was our experience. See, a lot of you guys typing in one, that's been your experience as well. And so what we had to do was decide, like, do we have to put a tighter contract in place? Do we just recognize that this is the fault of the client? Like, they should know better. They need to be patient. They need to wait around. Or do we have to re-engineer what we're doing a little bit? Do we have to kind of be more proactive so we can engineer some quicker wins? So that rather than them waiting until the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th month, they can actually start to get a tangible, measurable result. And interestingly enough, we found that as we made our experience better, but more importantly, as we started to engineer things and services we could implement as part of our program in the first week, in the first couple of weeks, that bought grace. That bought them being like, "Okay, I see where you're going. I'm starting to see some results." And of course, yeah, over time, we want to rank. And over time, we expect long-term big results. But just even micro wins in the first week, in the first 30 days, had a huge impact on our retention. And so just type quick in the comments here if you're excited to kind of jump into some quick win strategies, some services, some things you can put in place that don't take a lot of time, don't cost a lot of additional money, but can really make the difference between how the client perceives you in that first couple of months and whether they stick around or churn. All right, great. I see a lot of you guys typing quick, and so we're on the right track. Would love to know you guys a little bit. And I like to start these sessions off just spending a couple of minutes getting to know you guys. And so we're going to pull up a quick poll. Let us know, what type of agency do you run? And it's just basically, are you a full service agency? Are you an SEO agency? Are you a paid search agency? Are you a social agency? Just kind of let me know on that. We've got some SMMA agencies in here. I see we've got some SEO centric agencies in here. More than anything, we've got full service agencies. And I am a big fan of one niche, full service, right? Let's be their growth partner. Let's bring all of the things to the table that they're going to need to generate the leads and the sales and to have the revenue growth that they want. Excellent. So thank you guys for participating and engaging in the poll. The next question is just let us know, and if you could launch this next poll, Justin, are you a generalist agency, a niche agency? What's the current setup in your business today? Just super helpful to kind of get a sense. We got, let's see, niche agencies. We've got some generalist agencies. Okay, good. Pros and cons to both, right? And it seems like more than not in today's session, lots of niche specialist agencies. So, we specialize in the plumbing and HVAC niche. That's our niche. And we did $7 million last year. We're shooting to get to 8 figures in that agency over the next year and a half. And there are riches in the niches. So, and they've got 137 other agencies in the program that have kind of done that and had that experience. The last thing I'd love to know, we're all in different stages of our agency growth, right? Some of us are in startup trying to get those first handful of clients. Some of us are in stability, kind of between $10,000 and $30,000 in monthly recurring. Some of us are in scale, $30,000 to $83,000 in monthly recurring. Some of us are in significance, we're 7 figures or higher. Launch the poll real quick, Justin Littles, and just let us know what stage you're at in your agency's growth. It's always good to get a sense of who we have with us and kind of where we sit on the growth scale. Okay, really nice mix. We got a Titan with us. That's pretty cool. We've got a couple of you guys at seven figures. We've got a couple at scaling, several at stability, a couple of startup agencies. Fantastic. And I really think today's session kind of applies at all those stages, right? Because if we can get a client, we got to make sure we retain the client. One of the best things you can do to improve retention is generate better results, is to generate quicker wins. Fantastic. Well, guys, thanks for engaging with me. This is live, so I'm coming, to you live today. You guys are here on Zoom with me, or you happen to be watching this on Facebook or maybe in the YouTube channel. Let's keep this as interactive as possible, right? You're here, so have your webcams on, and I appreciate seeing you, Greg and Micah and Ashley and Jim and Jamie and the rest of you that I didn't mention your names, but I appreciate you having your webcams on. The purpose of this isn't just for me to record the content. It is to engage with you. It is to meet you where you're at. It is to answer your questions. And so if you've got questions while we're going, drop that into the chat. And we can unmute, we can have a conversation. That's one of the benefits of showing up live. So be prepared to ask those questions as we get into it here. So, our business, Seven Figure Agency, is really about helping you build to seven figures and beyond. So you can make more money, have more freedom, have a bigger impact. And what we've found is there's 4 pillars that we have to put in place to make that a reality. We have to land clients, we have to deliver results, we have to retain those clients, and then we have to scale. We have to put the systems, the procedures in place in order to make that a reality. And what we're trying to do on each of these sessions is say, okay, well, what are the key building blocks for each of those pillars so that you've got a really well-rounded strategy, a real well-rounded approach to running your agency. Because what we find is if any of those pillars are off kilter, right? Maybe you're landing clients really well, but you're not delivering the results. You don't have the quick wins, or you're doing it all yourself. You haven't figured out the team piece of it. You're going to have a house that's off balance, and more likely than not is going to crumble. It's never going to generate the revenue. It's never going to generate the freedom that you want. And so really what we want to do is give you the blueprints, like give you the training and the details so that you can build the 7 figures and ultimately build the 7 figures or 8 figures or whatever your goals and ambitions are in your agency. And so, this visual really paints the picture of the 7-figure agency roadmap. And I know behind me here, it's probably very hard to see. So I'm going to hit the share screen button and we're going to zoom into this and then we're going to get right into big picture. Right? I find that I like to zoom out for a minute and look at the big picture before we go in to something super specific, right? And so, there's very specific things we have to do to fill the funnel so we can get consistent deal flow. Very specific things we have to do to convert those opportunities into retainer-based clients. Very specific things we have to do to deliver the results and retain. And so actually last week, we went deep on world-class onboarding and the key things we want to do to onboard the clients, to capture the details, to be as smooth and seamless as possible. Give me a 1 in the comments if you happen to either be with me on that one or possibly watch the replay. But the other big thing, once it comes to retaining, is this quick win strategy. And so if we zoom in on this model behind me, or this model that I've got up in front of you, that is where we're at today. And that's what we're going to get into on today's session. And so we've got a formula called the client retention formula, right? Which is the key things we've found that drive the highest retention rates possible. And of course, let me know what you think is good retention. Like on a monthly basis, just put a percentage. What would you say is a good percentage retention to shoot for? It's different for everybody. 95% says Jamie. That's solid retention. 95, Micah 10, or 90. Greg says 97. Catherine says 90. So if you're looking at it on a monthly client retention perspective, 95% is solid. So it'd be you're churning 5% of your client base any given month. I think the standard that you want to shoot for is 97%, right? If you've got this client retention formula implemented, you've got a niche, you've got really strong deliverables, and you've got what I'm going to share with you guys. You should be able to retain it 97% monthly or higher. And I can tell you just a little improvement. The difference between 95% retention and 97% is massive. The difference between 90%, which a couple of you guys said, churning 10% of your client base every single month, and 97% is astronomical, right? And so like this is important stuff. So in order to maximize client retention, to get to that 97% or higher, our onboarding process is mission critical. The way we come out of the gates, super important. Then it's the way we communicate on an ongoing basis, what we report to the clients, how we see the vision of where things are headed. And then ultimately, it's our client success management process, how we hire account managers, put that media buying team in place, and have somebody else doing the check-ins in the monthly review process. And so right now, in our training series, we're focused on the onboarding, and we're going to really talk deeply on the quick wins piece of the equation. We did put together a document that outlines this for you guys, that will help you track along, that will help you see the key quick win strategies that we're going to cover today. If you want that, just type blueprint in the comments here. That'll trigger my team to send it off to you. And if you happen to be watching this on Facebook or on YouTube or at some point in the future, type blueprint into the chat. That's our way of knowing you want us to send you the blueprint, right? With the PDF and the documentation. Fantastic. For those of you that are on live, you can go to sevenfigureagency.com/quick wins. I think they just dropped it into the chat. That'll take you to the page where you can access this. There's also a QR code, but behind me here, it's going to be hard to see. And you got the link there in the chat anyways. Okay, so let's get into the quick win strategy and the key things we want to put in place. And I mentioned this on the last session, but for those of you that weren't on, and just for the sake of repeating the most important things, a new client is 5 times more expensive than retaining one. If you don't nail your onboarding process, clients will leave, and you'll be stuck in this endless cycle of 1 step forward, 1 step back. For some of us, most of us, maybe it's more like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But either way, it's going to be more efficient to focus on retention than just new client acquisition. So what we're going to cover on today's session is we're going to talk about 6 quick win strategies that drive fast results. And even if you just put a couple of these into play in your niche agency, it's going to make a big impact. We'll talk about how to implement each of them and kind of the key things you have to put in place, the key things that you need to think about in order to roll them out consistently and well. And then we'll talk about ways to communicate the wins to keep the clients engaged. Because one thing I also know is you can have amazing quick wins and do them in a vacuum, but if the client doesn't perceive the value of what you've just done, they're probably not going to stick around anyway. So we want to make sure we implement the quick win and we get them excited and bought into the fact that that actually happened. So we've got to really shine a light or take out the magnifying glass and really say, hey, look what we just did. Like, isn't this cool? And get them to say, yes, this is amazing. Thank you so much, right? We got to generate the quick win, and we actually have to get them to perceive the value of it. So if you're ready to dive in, you're ready to rock and roll, type ready into the chat for me. This is my way of keeping you engaged and also knowing that you're still here with me. Matt, I love the fire. Fantastic. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll. So quick win number 1. And again, coming from the perspective of our agency used to just do SEO, right? And so, we know what goes in. If you do SEO, you know what goes into that. And I was always against running paid search, right? I was like, hey, there's the lowest cost click you get is organic, and it's got this amazing long tail. The average cost per lead is extremely low. I came from Reach Local before I started my agency. And so the only thing I could sell at that time was paid search. And I was like, I want to just do SEO. I want to get them ranked on the map. I want to get them ranked organically. And that's true, and it's great. And it is really one of the highest value things you can do in today's market. But it takes time, right? It's going to take time from when they sign up to when you get the stuff, to when you start creating the content, to when they actually see an increase in rankings, to when they start to get leads and sales. And so very reluctantly, we decided, okay, let's start doing some paid search. Let's start rolling out paid search campaigns as quickly as possible, with the main objective of, even though we know the cost per lead is going to be higher, even though we know, we don't love paid search as the main channel, at least they're going to get some traffic, at least they're going to get some calls, at least they're going to get some wins on the board as we're building the rest of the strategy, as we're rolling that out. And so for those of you that already do paid search, then it's maybe the inverse of this. But for us, this was a big thing that we tried, we tested, and I can tell you there were a couple of stuck points early. One of the stuck points was, well, we can't load the pay-per-click campaign until we've launched the website, right? And so we, if it takes us 6 weeks to build the website and there's any kind of delay, well, we're not even going to start paid search until that 6th or 7th week, right? And that isn't the idea, right? We want to do something much quicker than that. The other challenge we kind of got stuck with was, well, like if we drive paid search to their existing website and we don't think their existing website is good, we don't think it's going to convert, well, then we're going to be setting ourselves up for failure. And so we tested a couple things. Like, what if we just did call only campaigns, right? What if we just launched Google call only campaigns right out of the gates? And that was kind of hit or miss. What we landed on, and you can figure out whatever direction you want to go with this, but what we landed on was getting a subdomain. So instead of, if their website is bobsplumbing.com, we're not going to have direct access to Bob's Plumbing and be able to build that site quick, but we can get access to their domain. We can set up, 5star.bobsplumbing.com and load some landing pages quickly, right? And that we were able to skip a lot of the friction, a lot of the frustration, not mess with their existing website while we were building the main site out, and we could drive traffic to those landing pages, start to generate some leads, start to generate some calls, and start to show them the results. And so in our world, we're usually trying to launch that paid campaign, not for every one of their keywords, but for a very highly targeted, highly transaction valued, usually the lower obvious terms, so that we could start to get some lead flow and start to get some sales. And so that might look different for you in your agency. It might look differently for you in your world, but some type of paid campaign early is going to be a great strategy. So you could help them set up local service ads if that's active in your market, and that's active in most agency services. Help them get their background check, help them get that set up, and start to drive some local service ads. It could look like, in some of your cases, kicking off a Facebook ads campaign, right? If your industry lends itself more to setting up the audience, driving people to a lead form on Facebook ads or a call campaign, that might be what it is for you. For others of you in home services, there are pay-per-lead services like Thumbtack and things like that, where you can set them up on a pay-per-lead mechanism and just say, hey, let's start to drive some leads through that channel. Find something that you can generate leads, right? That you can get the phone ringing, that you can get the inquiries flowing in. And so the way it looks like this is, if you're going to run Google Ads, we're just looking for those high impact keywords that align with the client's goals and set up a direct to call or a direct to booking campaign, right? Simple landing page, specific call to action, phone number, click here to schedule in if they've got online booking, and then track the metrics. So you can say, hey, look, it's only been 2 weeks. We did our launch call last week. We've already kicked off this paid search campaign. We've got this tracking in place so we can see how many leads you've got, how many inquiries there are, and make sure that you or the account management team are paying close attention. Those first couple of leads, even if it's just a warm call, you want to say, hey, check it out. You just got a call. And did they answer it? Did they book it? Like, what happened with that call? Because you can catch those little things early. Sometimes the client doesn't answer their phone. Sometimes they go to some weird, answering service that's never going to be able to convert the leads you're generating. And so you want to be really focused on those first dozen or so leads that you generate, so you can catch those issues, but you can also show the client that you care, show the client that you're paying attention, show the client that you're focused on the results. So just type paid in all caps here in the comments if that makes sense. Like, not only we want to set up the campaign, but we really want to emphasize, look, we've got a result for you, right? While everything else is materializing, right? And so what I'm not saying is this is all you do and you call it a day, right? Ideally, we've got a program in place where we're doing the website, we're doing the SEO, we're doing the, all of the other stuff, but this is something we do quick that's going to generate the cash register ringing. Any questions here on paid, like setting up that paid campaign early? I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if there's anything specific, feel free to drop that into the chat for me. So that's strategy number one. Already takes a ton of pressure off what you're doing with the client because you're doing something that's going to make the cash register ring. Strategy number two that I'm a big fan of because it costs zero is to do a database reactivation, right? And so a database reactivation is asking them, do you have a record somewhere, either in your whatever your customer CRM is, or on a spreadsheet of past customers and past inquiries. And if they have this, usually it's very loosely organized. They do not have it in a nice tight place. They're not really proactively focused on this. And there's cash in that past customer list. And so all you need to do is get that data and then come up with an offer that would be interesting to get them back in the door, or to get them, into the door that they never had. Like, different for every vertical, right? Because an attorney is going to be different than a plumber. It's going to be different than a damage restoration company, like different worlds. But you just need to flex your creative juices to be like, if they have unconverted deals, people that requested an estimate or people that had them come out that never converted, you could just reach out and send a message of, hey, did you get that project done? Question mark. Especially if you've got a text message mechanism that you can send out to, and start a conversation, right? Reactivate those unconverted deals. If it's a past customer, it could be, hey, spring's right around the corner and we've got this special incentive, right? Or this, if you've got like a retail store and you're trying to bring them back in, hey, look, we've got this special promotion running for past customers where you can come in and get this discount. You have to be creative, right? I can't give you like the silver bullet of what's going to work in your particular niche. But if you recognize the fact that most of your prospects, most of your customers have past customers, and just by sending an email or sending a text message in an intelligent way, you can create leads and sales without incurring a dollar out of your pocket or the client's pocket. It's just your own creativity and your know-how of how to use the tools. I think I've got a visual of this. So in home services, we spent a lot of time on this because we wanted to, our clients are paying us $3,000 to $5,000 per month plus ad spend. That's kind of the norm at which we sit. And we want to make sure as quickly as possible, they get at least $3,000 to $5,000 in revenue. And they're like, okay, this is at least break even, right? And, or we want to get a great return on investment. Once our whole thing is ramped up, we'll be there. But if we can do a database reactivation and even get a couple of booked jobs, they're loving us and they're happy as can be. And we're much more likely to retain that revenue long term. And so in our case, right, we get a list of their past customers and we send a message like this. Hey, John, this is Alice with Bob's HVAC. With fall here, you want to be sure your home is protected from the cold. As your trusted HVAC professionals, we're running a simple limited offer for $500 off new HVAC install. Simply reply yes, and we'll send you a coupon with all the details. You can set automation up for this, right? And if they've got a big enough list, you can set it up so if they reply yes, then it says great, and it sends them a little link. I don't think you have to come out of the gates trying to think about automating it and trying to do all of that stuff. You just want to generate a response and even manually respond to those people and manually move them forward. But that's an example. So when they say yes, send me the details, then it's like, great, as promised, here's your special and a link to schedule in, right? And so we're just automatically filling up their calendar with people that want that special incentive. And we do this pretty often, right? So here's an example of this client, Carney & Son 72 Degrees, HVAC company, just as an example. This is the niche we happen to work in. And so they had about 5,000 past customers that we had access to. We didn't do it all at once. So there's a methodology, like you're going to drop 100 a day and just gauge the response. And you can ratchet it up or you can ratchet it down based on how responsive it is. But over the let's say 4-week period, they had 300 replies to that simple message, 119 booked jobs, 24 that actually did an HVAC install, $84,000 in revenue. And you can see it, like we drop them on the pipeline and we're monitoring, did they engage with the automation? Did they schedule? And did those people actually book in and did it generate revenue for them? Do you think that client is pretty happy in the first couple of weeks if we generate $84,000 without even doing any of the other stuff we're doing with SEO, with paid search, with retargeting and everything in between? Just give me a yes or a yes. No doubt. Oh, hell yes, says somebody. Yeah, absolutely. So can you do that? Can you do this for your clients? The way we do this is through high level, right? And so, I recommend high level for a lot of things, but database reactivation, especially, you have to be careful with text, text messaging these days with compliance. And so, don't just get cell phone numbers loaded in and expect to send a bunch of text broadcasts. Like there's going to have to be a little bit of thought on kind of how you work the compliance angle there. But hopefully this kind of gets your creative juices flowing on how you can do database reactivation. I will tell you, an email to the existing customer base is nowhere near as responded to as a text message, right? And we are playing with voice AI where we can also call out and say, hey, this is Bob's Plumbing. And I'm not saying to do it yet, but I'm saying AI technology with voice automation is significantly improving. And so if you can put a call out to their past customers in a way that's congruent, that sounds natural, you might be well ahead of the game, and the clients are going to be looking at you like, wow, these guys are awesome. Like, this is super cool. So just some things to think about. Can we get a screenshot instead? Micah, yeah, we'll make sure to share this. I prefer to present this way, but are you guys not able to see my screen as I'm going through this? Just say yes if you can and no if you can't, because I may switch to sharing my screen. I'm getting mixed no's and yeses. All right, so as I'm showing like something very specific, I'll make sure to share my screen so you guys can see it a little bit clearer. But there's really nothing visually impactful here. It's me just explaining the concepts to you guys. But yeah, we can get screenshots and we'll share these slides with you if it's helpful. So the database reactivation, really our 3 steps are segment the database to target dormant leads. So there's going to be past customers. That's one segment of their database. There's going to be past inconverted opportunities where if you turn me to speaker view, hopefully I'm pinned. Let me make sure I'm pinned. Spotlight for everybody. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. There we go. Mike, I apologize. I didn't realize I hadn't pinned myself. We've got past customers. We've got unconverted deals. And then you've also can segment, like, did they do an install in our case, or did they do a repair, right? And in your case, maybe did they do, if you were a med spa, what specific service did they buy, so that you can make sure you offer something that either is congruent to that or it's like an add-on to that. Just think about ways to logically bring them back. Craft compelling offer, right? It could be as simple as, did you get that done? Just wanted to check in with you, right? If that was an unconverted opportunity, that message is golden, right? Because a lot of people are going to write back, no, I didn't get it yet. Yeah, I'm still interested. And now you've just reemerged all their opportunities that were sitting in the pipeline that they never had anybody follow up on. And then track the responses. Again, we want to highlight the fact that just like the numbers I showed you for this, in case you didn't see it, we were able to show them how many people we sent it to, how many people replied, and how much revenue was generated. So you want to at least be like, as people are responding to your offer and they're engaging with your offer, let the client know, hey, check it out. Somebody just wrote back, screenshot it, send it off to them. Not you, ideally your account management staff, but this is a great quick win that we can put in place. So just type reactivate in the comments if you can implement this, whether it's the email piece or you go a little bit deeper in email and SMS, possibly even start looking about how do we do email plus some automation so that if they click a link or if they type a certain thing, it triggers some automation. And that's really where it gets exciting, because you can get it done. It doesn't take a lot of time for you or your staff, and you're not asking their team to do a lot of extra work either. Okay, number 3, simple quick win is to set up live chat on the client's site or their social profiles. Your client, typically you're coming into their world and they had another agency before, they've got a website sitting somewhere, they've got a Google business profile, they've got Facebook, and some percentage of them have a chat widget on their site already, and maybe they're happy with it. And if that's the case, cool. But a lot of them, it's just a normal website, and they've got a couple ways to convert. They can fill in the form, or they can call the number, right? Usually that's the only conversion factor that's in place. We know in today's market, our customer would prefer to engage via text message. Like if they have the opportunity to send a message on text and schedule their plumbing service or whatever thing it is that you guys do, that's a win. And so this is just a play that recognizes they've got traffic to their website, to their Google business profile, maybe to their Instagram or their Facebook, in different niches. What we found was just adding a little chat box on their site. So let's say this is their site and this is one of our clients, Mac5 Plumbing. This little bubble over here, that little chat box pops up and says, welcome, text us now, schedule a service call, browse our latest offers, check our online reviews. And they can start a two-way text conversation. And we do this through High Level, right? You can maybe, if there's other platforms that you like, you can use whatever you want. This is one of my favorite plays with High Level is we just take the little chat widget, pop it onto their site, and now people start chatting in. And they're like, hey, I've got this question, or hey, I need this information. And you can screenshot that and be like, hey, check it out. We're getting chats, right? We're getting people that are interested in your services. I think phase one for most of you guys is just to put the chat widget on their website. Phase two might be to put the chat widget on their Google Business Profile. So when you go to a business profile, you can activate messaging, right? And somebody will get to that site and send a message. If you don't have that activated, they can't do it. And all they can do is call in. And that's the only conversion mechanism, or to click on their website. Now you've got two places where you're capturing chat opportunities for them that they might not have considered. It could be GBP doesn't do it anymore. I would check on that. Last I checked, they did, but you could be right. But definitely on their website specifically. And the next piece would be to put some automation. And if you're thinking about AI today, the AI automation is getting better and better. And so the constraint with the chat would be somebody needs to be paying attention, right? Either somebody on your team in your sub account, if you've got it set up in High Level, or somebody on their team would have to have the app install and get the little alert that somebody started a chat. And we know chat needs to be quick, right? Because if I go to your website and you've got a plumbing website or whatever, and I say, I want to schedule a service call, and I'm waiting 2, 3, 5 minutes before I get a response, I probably moved on, or I called the number and I'm out. Ideally, we want to put chat automation in place where they send whatever they send, and the AI says, oh, thanks so much. Tell me a little bit more. And then they send whatever they send, and then, oh, great. Well, great to meet you. Would you like to schedule a time? And they write back, yeah, I would. Like, that exists today. And if you're not doing that, you want to start looking into that technology. You want to start developing your chat flows so that you can solve this problem, this conversion problem for your clients, recognizing that more of your customers want to engage via text message versus phone calls if they get the option, and knowing that they probably don't want to put any horsepower behind it, and it's going to be costly for you to put your own horsepower behind it, but you can put automation in place, because most of the time it's very similar questions that lead to, do you want to schedule a call, to, oh, here's the link, let's go ahead and schedule you in, right? And if you can get your AI to quickly take people down that path, that's huge wins, right? Because they've already got traffic. Right now, their only conversion is phone. And so this is an easy play. Type chat in the comments if you feel like, hey, you know what? First of all, I should be looking at this anyways. But second of all, yeah, why wouldn't I, even if I don't have their new website up yet, put that chat widget on place? Yeah, chat AI bot. Let's start looking at that channel. Let's start innovating that approach. And we can implement that early. And what's cool about this is it gives you the wow effect, right? Which is, yeah, we're doing our thing. We did an amazing kickoff call. We dropped a welcome basket in the mail to them. They feel really good about you as their agency provider. And now you say, hey, look, while we get things launched, we're going to put this chat on your website, and we're going to start to generate some conversion opportunities, right? And if you start talking about AI, you start showing them how you can do that, then they're like, wow, these guys are also kind of on the cutting edge of what's happening with AI. Some will resist and understand. You're going to get some pushback. They're like, I don't want AI. I don't want chat unless it's going to me, and that's okay, but be prepared to defend your position. Be prepared to explain that it's not really, they don't really care whether they're talking to Betty at the office or an AI chatbot, as long as their problem is solved and their thing is scheduled and they get what they want. And so if you can get more of your customers what they want, they win. So that's chat. This is just our high-level automation. We run that in the background. So choose the platform. There's all kinds of chat platforms out there, ZyraTalk and everything else. If you're in high-level ecosystem, no-brainer to keep it in high level, of course. Set up the automations so that when they do start and they say something, it automatically triggers the response at a minimum. And then train your team and clients on how this flow works, right? Don't just put it on without letting them know, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's why this is going to generate more leads and sales for you right out of the gates. And then that first lead, those first couple leads that come in, you've got to make some noise about it. Oh, check it out. This person just, started the chat. Hey, look how great the AI. Look what they said here. Isn't that awesome? Oh man, look, it looks like they scheduled. Did they convert? Like, show that you care and that you're passionately trying to help them get results. And those quick wins, they really, not only do they show the cash registering, but they show that you're really engaging in the process. And it doesn't have to be you, right? It shouldn't be you. I haven't done this in my agency for over a decade, but you train your team to have these conversations and to find these opportunities and to plant these seeds. Okay. Next up is to activate missed call text back. And this is, I would say I'm going to call this two tiers. How many of you guys have ever called your client and noticed that they don't answer the call, right? Whether that's during the day or possibly after, like in the evening hours, if you call the office, it goes to voicemail. And it's like, we all know speed to lead is the name of the game. The person that answers the call, schedules the thing, it wins, right? Just give me a yes if you've ever experienced that. I know we work with plumbing companies, and most of them are really established, really successful plumbing companies with millions, tens of million dollars in revenue, full dispatch teams in place. And, at least 10 or 20% of the time, there's no live answer. It's going to a voicemail, and somebody's ideally checking the message when they get a chance, and they're calling the customer back. Especially your smaller clients, I think this comes into play. We can put missed call text back, right? Which is automation. That phone rings into that office, it goes to voicemail, and we send a message that says, hey, sorry we missed your call. Was there something I could help you with? This captures opportunity that they probably were going to miss, right? And what's cool is we can also use some AI. The person writes back, yeah, actually I was trying to schedule this or that. And then the AI will fire and say, oh, cool. And based on what they said, something that makes sense, and try and move them to schedule. Clients are blown away by this early on. The other really new wrinkle, and I'll share you an example with this before we wrap up, is the clients that aren't answering the phone after hours, during office hours, you might as well put AI voice in place. Like, the technology is there now where, thanks for calling Bob's Plumbing, how can I help? Answers questions, gets their name, gets their phone number, and it even tentatively schedules a time. I'll show an example of this. It can all be done through high level. You have to train the AI voice. Again, this is one of those, clients aren't really comfortable with it right out of the gates. But if they're missing handfuls of calls after hours, and you can give an immediate answer and you can get a smart conversation in play, you look like a hero. So missed call text back, AI voice, powerful quick win that will shock and astonish your clients and actually make them money, because they're leaving money on the table every day, and you're not spending any more on their behalf for this. You're just going in and scooping up the missed opportunity that they haven't even recognized is there. And so set up the automation, customize the follow-up, track the response, right? The first time this happens, let the client know, hey, check it out, screenshot it. Oh man, look, this call, they called in, you guys didn't answer, I don't know what's going on, but look, this picked up, and they wrote right back, right? And now they've actually scheduled, and you share the excitement of that outcome. So just type AI if you could use either some missed call text back or some AI voice answering, or at least start to showcase that technology. Because again, the agencies that are progressing, the agencies that are innovating are going to be the ones that win, right? And we're just trying to figure out, what are the low-cost things we can throw into the process in the first couple of weeks that generate results and also impress the client, get them excited, that has that wow effect, that has that wow factor. All right, I see lots of you guys running AI in there. All right, the next thing you can do that's a really cool quick win is to launch a retargeting campaign. And as digital marketers, you know what this is, but we can turn on Google Display, Facebook or Meta retargeting, have a very low cost budget. And if they've got some version of traffic, and I'm assuming you're dealing with clients that already have traffic to their existing website, we're going to set up retargeting anyway, right? And if you don't, it should be part of your program. But what's great about retargeting is if they're not already running it, and most of your clients aren't, you'd be surprised, they just never got around to it, or the other agency never actually set it up. Emmanuel, probably $500 per month, let's just say, on ad spend to put some retargeting in place. And this should be above and beyond your management fee. These are just things that you're implementing. Like if you do a paid search campaign, if you do some retargeting early, that shouldn't come out of your management fee, right? They should know we're going to put some budget towards this. This is going to generate results, and this is how much money we're putting towards it. And could be 500, could be much more, depending upon how much volume and traffic they have to their site. But this is a double quick win, because the first is obviously people that got to their website that didn't convert now start to see their banner ads. And when they start to see their banner ads, they start to see them on social media, they're coming back to the site. We know that has an impact on their conversion rates. It's really, really powerful. But the second reason this is a big quick win is because your client visits their own site, right? They're there, they're clicking on their site, especially if they're working with you and they're in an initial phase. You've pulled up their site with them. And so they've been pixeled themselves. And naturally, they're going to see their ads. They're going to see themselves where they never had before because you've got retargeting in place. And so subliminally, they're like, man, these guys, I signed up with them. They hit the ground running with the launch call. They're communicating with me, all the time with all of the cool things that they're doing. They've launched these little things and I'm starting to get leads and sales. And now they're starting to see their own ads, and maybe their wife sees their ads. Maybe their kids see their ads. And all of a sudden they're like, man, I feel like a hero. My business is being, featured front and center. You're not being deceptive, right? You're just featuring their business and they're proud to see themselves out there. And so just type retargeting if you feel like you could launch that retargeting campaign and start to get some juice in terms of unconverted opportunities, but also some excitement because they're seeing themselves and they're like, okay, these guys are actually doing something where all the other agencies just said they were going to do something and I never saw my ads and I never got any leads and I never got any progress. And naturally, they kind of delineate out of the process. So for this, and again, you don't have to wait until you've launched your new site. You can set up Google Tag Manager, you can implement the script, and you can put your pixels in place, right? MetaPixel, Google Display, whatever other retargeting network you might tap into. Create some basic banner ads for all the various sizes that are going to fit into those places. Try and infuse personality. Don't just use their logo. If you can get the picture of the owner, if you can get the picture of the team, that's going to resonate. It's also going to have that personal branding component and that pride that the owner feels when they see themselves. And of course, set up the tracking, right? When you see the retargeting ad on Fox News, screenshot it. Or when you see it on ESPN or wherever it is that you happen to see it, screenshot it and say, hey, did you see this? Right? And eventually they'll start screenshotting. They're sending it to you. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, my kid was playing and he saw my ad. Little thing, but it really does have a big impact in kind of the way they feel about you, the way they feel about the results you're eventually going to bring to the table. So that's 5. And initially, that was my initial 5 that I was going to share with you. The last one I want to share is implement a review capture campaign. And this also is just a basic thing that can have a big impact. We know that their reviews that they have on Google, on those other review sites like Yelp, Angie, whatever review sites are relevant in your industry, those reviews lend themselves to conversion, right? Because people are looking at them before they convert. They also have an impact on their rankings on the Google map, right? And we know that the companies that have the most reviews tend to win. And most companies, if anything, just have natural review growth, right? Somebody likes them so much that they go to their website and they write a review. Ideally, part of your program and what we incorporate into our program is we train their team the importance of reviews, and we put review automation in place so that after every service call, a review request goes out, and that's going to drive their continuous review count. But the other thing you can do as a quick win that really gets them excited, that is powerful, is do a review audit, right? And literally say, hey, on the main review sites, this is your average rating. This is how many reviews you have. This is your biggest competitor, your top 3 competitors, how many reviews they have, and what's the difference between how many reviews they have and how much the competition has, right? This is a good thing to do in your launch process to show that you're paying attention, to show that you understand the importance of reviews, and to kind of get their buy-in that there's a big delta typically between them and their biggest competitor. And it kind of sells them on, the fact that, we got to do this review automation stuff, and here's why this is going to really matter. But most clients have never done a past message to all of the customers that they've worked with over the past year, the past 2 years, to say something as simple as, hey, we've been in business for X years. You're one of our past customers. It was an honor to serve you. Right now, we're really focused on getting feedback and growing our online reputation. It would mean the world to us if you take a quick sec and write a review, right? Just doing that to their existing customer base, giving them a reason why, and sending them the link to the Google or whatever profile you want. A lot of times, depending upon how many clients they have, they may go from 10, 20, 30 to doubling that just by doing this, right? And so you bring them into this process. You have a meeting about their current reputation, about kind of the strategy going forward, and they get them excited. Hey, look, we're going to do a review blitz, right? Where we're going to get all those past customers. We're going to send a message, ideally via email and SMS. We're going to explain why we want the reviews. And this could be a single fire, or you could set up a mini workflow where there's a couple messages, and if they don't click the link, they see it again. And that way you get more people to actually take the step. But this review blitz strategy is a great way to come out of the gates. It's super impressive. And we know if they even get a handful of reviews, we can say, hey, check it out. Look, you just got this new review. Amazing. We wouldn't have gotten that if we hadn't put this in place. They're seeing the activity that's going to lead to results. And so this is just getting a past list of customers' emails and SMS, setting up a simple message blast or workflow, and then tracking the reviews, shining a light on it. Hey, check it out. This is so exciting. Type blitz in the comments if you feel like you could incorporate this review blitz into your launch process. And maybe you do this week 2, week 3, just to kind of build that enthusiasm, build that excitement, build those reviews, which is going to make your life easier in the long term anyway. Awesome. All right. So you can do this through high level, and ideally, the best way to generate reviews is to have it set up so after every service call or every job or every transaction, an automation fires that sends them the request for review. We've got clients in the plumbing space that have generated thousands and thousands of reviews. And so we do that through the review blitz as well as the ongoing review request automation. And then the other thing you probably want to put in place, if you haven't already, is marketing automation, right? Which is just on their site. We've got the little chat widget. If there's a form that they fill in, if there's a place that they can schedule that next thing with their company, you want to put that automation in place, right? And build a snapshot in high level where you're capturing every lead, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a web form submission, whether it's a chat, dropping it onto a pipeline, putting it into a workflow, because there's two things that most of your customers aren't doing well. Number one is speed to lead, right? As soon as the lead comes in, every minute that passes, the probability of getting that revenue drops. And there's only a couple ways to solve that, right? You can either put an army of salespeople that are Johnny on the spot, or you put the automation in place and let automation help kind of fill in the gaps. And so we can do that through high level. You can build a really great snapshot, engineer this once, continue to innovate it, and roll it out for your client base. And then I think we've got time. I'm just going to share here AI voice because I think it's pretty powerful. I think it's pretty cool. And it does fit into this idea of a quick win that your clients are like, wow, that's epic. So let me just show you this real quick. I want to make sure I got share with sound. Okay. And so one of the big things coming in AI right now is AI voice and AI messaging. And so our team's been working hard on how to set up AI voice to answer calls and to expedite solving problems for prospective customers and booking more jobs more quickly. Speed to lead, speed to booking is really the answer. So let's test this out.
This call will be recorded for quality purposes.
Hey, thank you for calling Bob's Plumbing and Cooling. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Hi, this is Josh.
Hi, Josh. Nice to meet you. How can I assist you today? Are you having any issues with your HVAC system?
Actually, I'm having an issue with the water heater right now. It's not heating the pipes, it's not heating the water. I need to have someone come check it out.
Oh no, that sounds frustrating. It could be a problem with the heating element or maybe even the thermostat. Let's get someone out there to take a look. Could you tell me more about what's been happening?
Yeah, I mean, like just basically we go into the shower and the water's hot for like a second and then it gets cold, and so we need to try and get it fixed ASAP.
Got it, Josh. That sounds like a real inconvenience. Let's get this sorted out quickly for you. Could you please provide the service address and postal code?
Yeah, it's 13999 Old Jams Road, and that's 33158.
Thanks for that, Josh. And just to confirm, could you please provide your full name for the record?
Yes, it's Josh Nelson.
Great, Josh Nelson. And is the best contact number for you the one you're calling from now?
Yeah, that's the best number.
Perfect. And what's your best email address, just in case we need to send you any details?
It's Josh at plumberseo.net.
Thanks, Josh. So let's get you scheduled for a service appointment. How does tomorrow at 10 a.m. or Thursday at 2 p.m. sound?
Tomorrow at 10 would be good. Could you get anyone out here later today?
I understand the urgency, but unfortunately we don't have any slots available for today.
Okay.
Let's lock in tomorrow at 10 a.m. to get this resolved as soon as possible. Does that work for you?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Great. I've got you scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, I think that's it.
All right, Josh. Thanks for reaching out to Bob's Plumbing and Cooling. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Have a great day.
So not too bad, and we like you can ask it a bunch of different questions. It will come up with intelligent answers. It's just only as good as the programming that you give it. How do you want it to address the customer? How do you want it to solve the problems? And so, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Is it better than going to a call center that doesn't understand what you're trying to do, or going to a voicemail? 100%. So in today's market, if you're going to a voicemail after hours, having an AI voice like this that can have a conversational tone with the prospect, that can answer the questions, that can soft book the time, can be a massive improvement in conversion, because you've got a immediate answer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you've got people calling in and actually getting an answer and feeling like they've scheduled a time. So technology in the works, but just a quick demo of how close this AI voice is to being ready for prime time. Cool, right? I mean, different people respond differently, but I'm surprised. I thought our clients in home services were going to be adamantly against this, because most of them have invested in sales training in the office, and they feel like they've got an amazing dispatch team, but very receptive to this technology and very receptive to, if they can have that kind of conversation, it can actually solve the problem and get the person soft booked. That's a win, right? And so just something to think about, and just something that's, if that's how it is today, and I think this is still early, imagine how good that technology is going to be 6 months from now, a year from now. It's just innovating so quickly. Don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on it. So those are the quick wins. Like, I gave you 6 quick win strategies. Let me know which of the 5 you think you would implement. You just type 6 if you feel like, I think we could do all 6 of these. Maybe there's only 3 that you feel like that really matches for me. Maybe there's one that's like, hey, I'm just going to do the database reactivation early, or I'm going to set up the chat. Which one do you think you're most likely to implement in your agency? Yazin says, I'm going to do all 6. I love it. Yeah, you're going to impress the client. Ashley says, I closed a $4,500 SEO client this week. Thanks for the recommendations in your book. Amazing. We're reviewing the review capture campaign and web chat and high level with a quick win. That's awesome. Congratulations on the deal. Let me know what niche you're in. That's amazing. Lisa says all 6. Reactivation and review says, Micah, love it. Love it. That's the most important thing, right? We walk away with a couple of takeaways. We walk away with a couple of things we can implement in landscaping, actually. Amazing. So good. So that's onboarding, right? If we come out of the gates quickly with, the way we kick off, the way we collect the data, and the way we engineer those quick wins, how much more likely do you think we are to retain the client, right? If we're showing that much value in the first week and we're generating those types of quick wins, just give me on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being it's not going to help, 10 being absolutely, like that, they're going to be much more likely to feel excited, to see the proof, and to give us all of the time to stick around, right? That's going to improve our retention. You got 11, 10, 25, 10, 10. Yeah, absolutely. It can't help but help. So quick recap, right? Hitting the key things here. Launch paid search campaign, database reactivation, live chat setup, missed call text back, voice, AI voice answering, retargeting campaigns, and then the review capture blitz. All great processes that you can put in place to maximize that process. We did create a workbook for you that kind of gives you the action items for each of these, which you can get by going to sevenfigureagency.com/quick wins. If you guys could drop that into the chat for them again real quick in case they missed it. That's where you go to get that. And kind of zooming back out, right? We talked about quick wins, which if we look at this, really this entire process to scale to 7 figures and beyond, there's lots of key things we have to put in place. And, if you look at the 80-20, right? The 80-20, the 20% of things that generate 80% of the results, in my mind, this represents that 20%, right? This big picture. And at this point, we've got about 137 agencies that have grown to 7 figures, mapping and implementing this entire model. Today we focused on the quick wins formula, but if you really want to scale to 7 figures, it's not just about quick wins, right? It's the whole process and how we land clients, how we deliver results, how we retain those clients, and ultimately how we put the systems, the procedures in place so that the company can scale without us having to do it all ourselves. And so, if you feel like you'd like some additional support with the big picture, we'd love to help you with that. And of course, we've got a paid coaching and mentorship option where, not only do we give you the idea,